All right, quick little video here. I've had this on the shelf. This was actually mine. I probably bought this 36, 37 years ago when it was new. It's a Sony audio video controller center, it says. Basically, it's a stereo receiver, but it was set up to handle video as well. They had video inputs and so forth. And it is a STR-AV500. That's all I know about it, but I haven't been using it because it hasn't been reliable. So I just saw it sitting on the shelf. I happened to have picked up these nice little Radio Shack Minimus 7, I think they are. Originally they were called Pip Speaks. I found these at a garage sale. I actually have a pair of these I bought new 40 some years ago, and I love these little speakers. These things can actually put out a significant amount of sound for how small they are. Anyhow, I wanted to test those as well, so I decided to just hook everything up. So when I first turned it on, first of all, I get no no display here at all, but I did hear some scratchiness out of the left-hand channel. So okay, that was fine. Pulled the cover off, stared inside a little bit. Honestly, what I was looking at is, I was looking at the capacitors to see if any were obviously breached or, blown out at the top. They can kind of pop at the top when they go bad. It's an obvious sign that they've gone bad. There's a lot of capacitors in here. So just visually looking at them, I am no electronics genius. Then I decided, well, hey, let's swap the speakers. Maybe one of the speakers is bad. So I swapped them, test again. Now this speaker works, that one doesn't work, or whatever it was. So I proved that both speakers are functional, but it's the right-hand channel that's not working. So I pulled the power cord out and I started poking around in here a little bit. And all I really did is started disconnecting things like this, right? That's clearly a connector. I just disconnect it, stare at it, like I'm going to do anything, plug it back in, and repeat where I can. So there were, I don't know, half a dozen of those things. I was able to pop them off, put them back on. My logic here is, oxide buildup over time will create some bad contacts, and frankly, just disconnecting, reconnecting sometimes can take care of it. So I did that, and I decided I also should just hook up an antenna so I could try to actually get a signal, because all I'm really doing here is listening to radio. So I just grabbed a piece of speaker wire. An antenna is nothing more than a loop of wire of an adequate length. So I just took one piece of speaker wire, just tied the two ends together. Make sure that's not contacting anything. And sure enough, it worked. And when I turned it back on, I'm actually getting sound out of both channels. I'm over to this one right now. You can't tell. I'm over to that one now. Of course, in fact, I'm doing this is going to demonetize this, but that's okay. So the other thing I was doing is I had messed around with this. This is the volume control. And honestly, I think that might have had something to do with one of the channels coming back on. Sometimes there's oxide in there, oxide in there. And the other thing I noticed is when I mess with this loudness button, where is it? Surround. Oh, look, a light came on. The mute button. See, things are weird when I hit that mute button. It doesn't actually mute it. Well, maybe it does. But I was getting scratchiness coming out of there.
So TikTok is banned for the next 90 days, sort of. If you already had it.
Well, anyways, I thought what I would do now is try to get this front cover off. Because what I'd like to do is get a little contact cleaner sprayed on some of these switches and get better access to them. And maybe I'll learn something about the lighting here as well in the process. So I'll see if I can figure that out. I was able to get the front panel loose, you can see. but I still got some wires running. I did disconnect a few things. This one right here goes there. This one goes there. I think I pulled another one. There's one right here that goes here, just to give me a little bit of room. I don't want a lot of room, but this board here, I'm going to see if I can pull that screw out, just get it at the other side of this board, because that's what that surround sound button is hooked to. I think the mute button is hooked to as well. You can see this is the volume control right here. Found another screw down here in the corner. And then once that's off, I think the board is under this black clip here. I think we just pull it out this way. Okay, a little update. It's getting tougher here. I realized this is all tied together with this board. So I think this whole volume control comes out as one unit. I pulled the knob off. There's the knob. You can see there's a wire attached to it. And that wire goes in through this hole. Now I have to get this nut off of here. I'm assuming get this nut off of here. Maybe that whole thing will come loose. We'll see. It is loose. I can't do this, and now we have this out of here. That's good. All right, just set it here. And I think we can get, my guess is we can get access to this board now. Okay, that's holding it in. All right, so I'll give you an update. I was able to get this out. It was down like that. I had to pull this balance knob off to get it off. Which makes sense. So this is the balance. This is the balance control. You see that's I call it a rheostat. You know, there's something that turns there. There's contacts inside. So I'll try to get some of that contact cleaner in there. Maybe try and clean that up. I'm going to do the same thing over here with this volume control. See, this thing is a similar kind of it's kind of somewhat mechanical with contacts in there, I think. So, you know, I'll try and get some contact cleaner in there. Then go about trying to put her back together and see if it makes any difference. I got this part reassembled, but then I thought, well, I'm this far in. Why don't I see if I can get the main logic board out? So I found there were 10 small brass screws that held it in place. And then I just started removing clips. And here you go. A lot of switches here. A lot of switch contact sliders here. Power as such is over here. This is there's the power light. Main power button right there. So I'm going to use some contact cleaner and all this stuff. I might, not sure what's going on here. I'll disconnect and reconnect these, assuming they come off. I'm not sure they do. But we'll just put it back together. We'll see what happens.
10 million people get their job search every day, and because these.
All right, so I still don't have lights, but the sound is pretty good.
Right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not
it's
using
working pretty good. I'm not getting any scratchiness anymore.
When the impossible is easy.
See what happens. I hit the surround with the mute,
and
it works. No
Try
scratch.
ZipRecruiter for free.
No scratch on the
Once again,
that's good. That's an improvement.
ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip.
So, with the exception of the illumination of the controls, it seems to work. So I take a closer look here. The display is actually, it is on, but it's really dim for some reason. Don't know why. But it does in fact work. But you gotta have all the lights turned off to really be able to see it. So Well, I guess that's forward progress. Well, I don't know if I'm going any further with this, but maybe you'll find that simple approach to a little bit of diagnostics and troubleshooting useful. This receiver is worthless, so I had no risk messing with it. I mean, obviously I could have electrocuted myself, but I didn't do that. So keep it unplugged when you're messing with it, and stay away from the capacitors. That's my advice.